Yo, 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 what up? It's your boy Tyler Golem here with another video, and we are on Reddit right now. This is a post from the user Cloud Delta. It's publicly on PTCGP, the official, I don't know if it's official, but it's a subreddit for the Pokemon TCG Pocket game, saying that they are upset, I guess, or frustrated that they've been spending about 50 to 100 euro per month consistently, and basically not getting a whole lot from this game. So I'm just going to read this real quick while we talk. Sorry in advance, I just need to vent. I honestly don't have anyone else to talk to about this. I've opened 220 packs from this 155 card set. That's 1,100 pack points. That's 50 to 100 euro per month consistently invested in this game. And what to show for it? Nothing. No meaningful chase cards, no exciting pulls, no wow moment, just duplicates, filler, and low tier hits over and over again. At what point do we stop calling this bad luck and start calling it what it is? A 155 card pool with hyper diluted drop rates isn't engaging, it's manipulative. The odds feel tuned so aggressively that unless you're willing to whale far beyond $100 or €100 a month, you're statistically sidelined from the actual exciting part of the set. And before someone says that's just how gacha works, yes, I understand variance, I understand rarity. What I don't understand is why paying players are made to feel like fools for supporting the game. Because that's where I'm at right now, I feel stupid for spending. When opening packs stops becoming exciting and starts feeling like a guaranteed disappointment loop, something is fundamentally broken. I actually like this game. That's the frustrating part. I want to support it, but if this is the monetization direction going forward, I'm not sticking around to be farmed. If Dina keeps pushing drop rates like this, I'm uninstalling, not out of rage, but out of principle. Anyway, thanks for reading. I just needed to get this off my chest. I will show you the rest of the edits, but I'm not going to necessarily read them all like verbally, but I am going to show them on the screen so that you can see what's going on. So here's the thing. I was going to make this into a actual gameplay video later on, but I think that I need to have a dedicated video for something like this so that we can talk about this, right? Because this is something that frustrated me when I was being pay to win. This is something that frustrated a lot of other people who spent a lot of money on the game. And one of our frustrations was that, we weren't getting a lot of good pulls, even though we were spending money. And what people noticed from their own experience, I guess, of opening packs or opening up 10 packs was that, when I open 10 packs, I'm going to get like a 2-star, or I'm going to get an immersive. I'm going to get something really shiny, right? The chances of that happening are really good. But when I open up 10 individual packs, one by one by one times 10, I don't get anything. The free packs, it's almost like the free packs had a weird rate. They were like there was like a low rate for the regular packs, and then there was a premium rate for when you get 10 packs in a row. The 10 packers seem to do the trick. Other thing I forgot to mention that I don't know how big of a deal it is, but I don't follow the market or anything like that, but I found out that the euro is actually, this wasn't too long ago, but the euro is actually cheaper than the US dollar, which surprised me actually. But they're roughly the same. Back in the days, euro was way more expensive than the dollar, but I guess these are different times now, right? So yeah, I mean, these are the comments. People were mostly negative, but also there were some people who felt the same way I do. I definitely feel for this particular user. I definitely agree with a lot of the things that they said. I had definitely frustrations too. There were definitely times when I was spending $100 in one day and I wasn't getting anything. There were times, if you've gone through my recordings, everything is on my YouTube channel. There were days when I say nothing burger, literally I had nothing. I had absolutely no new cards, no 2-stars, nothing. I didn't unlock a single new card from the set, and there were plenty of cards I could have unlocked on those days. There are times where you just get pure bad luck. And to have $100 a day. I mean, this person's spending $100 a month, which is very reasonable. Like, honestly, if I weren't free to play, I would probably do $100 a month. I think that would be like a really good rate, because you probably get a lot. But based on this conversation, it sounds like you're not getting enough, right? And if you're not getting enough for $100 or €100 a month, roughly the same, like I said, then is it really worth it? I mean, I don't know. People probably ask me, do you regret spending all that money and then going free to play? Do you regret wasting all that money. And you want to know what my response is? Hell no. Hells no. And let me tell you why. The reason why is because some of my things went kind of viral. I'm not viral. I mean, depends on your definition of word viral, but like some of my shorts got like over 100,000 views. And just because I was like showing stuff off, and I was doing stuff, and I leveraged that. I mean, I've gained over 10,000 subscribers on this channel in less than a year, right? Less than a year. And it was my first year of uploading videos. My very first year that I uploaded videos, I was just chilling, I was relaxing, and I was getting people to join my Discord, getting people to talk about my stuff. I got other YouTubers to make videos and talk about me sometimes, which is really cool while on their stream. And I got to participate. I got to be like, hey, I got to contribute positively to the community by talking about Pokemon, by being part of other Discords, by being part of other communities. And not only that, but I used that presence. I used my YouTube presence to leverage my other YouTube channel to over 100,000 subscribers. I got a silver button because of a lot of the stuff that I did last year, marketing Pokemon and TCG Pocket, and then creating the website, and advertising the website on the YouTube channel. I mean, maybe I wasn't getting a lot of traffic from here or from there or whatever, like, but it all adds up, right? It all adds up, and every single thing, people don't understand. Every single thing I did was for a purpose, right? Every single thing I do, and I don't just do stuff for no reason. I have a purpose for doing it, and my purpose was to come back to YouTube, to get back into. I mean, I wasn't streaming as much, but to get back into like the streaming ecosystem, right? I'm not really a streamer. I'm more of a content creator, more of a YouTuber. I like to make YouTube videos. I don't really do the streaming as much, although it would be nice to do that. Just my work doesn't really support it. And we could talk about that later. We can have a discussion about what I do and all that stuff, my personal life later on. But I do want to let you know that I have no regrets. I had a lot of fun spending money on this game, and having people see it. They were watching it. They were chatting. They were hyping. There were haters out there for sure. There were definitely haters. But there were significantly more positive. I was surprised. There were significantly more positive people watching my stuff than not. Like I rarely they say when you're a YouTuber you should delete negative comments. I've like rarely deleted a comment that was negative. I don't know how. I don't think I've done that at all in the last like several months. No one's ever said anything like super negative. They may have been critical. They might have said something critical, or like, maybe you shouldn't spend that much money, or this was a waste of money, like whatever. But there weren't people that were like, what's the word? Trolling is the right word. There weren't a lot of trolling people, and that's something that I've come to realize is like YouTube does a really good job of filtering out like negative or negative people who aren't really good for their community. I think YouTube being bought by Google and all this stuff, corporate, it obviously some people like it, some people hate it. But overall, I think that there should be like more regulation for certain things, like certain social media. I mean, it is a little tricky, right? Because this kind of goes back to something that we actually talked about on the Discord a couple days ago, which everybody's talking about right now, which is the fact that Discord apparently got rid of, or they're rolling back some changes. So initially they made an announcement saying sometime next month, they're going to be doing this thing where you need to have face recognition or like face ID to verify your age. And obviously a lot of people are going to be leaving the platform if they do enforce that, but it sounds like they're going to try to roll back 90% of that because of all the backlash that's happening. I mean, that's not what I gotta reread everything, because there was a lot of documents, there was a lot of comments people were saying. But my understanding is that for like 98, like the vast majority of people that are using Discord, it's not going to necessarily affect you. But for people who are minors, they are going to have to if you're a minor and you want to get into Discord, you might be screwed. Like you might have to if you had an account that was like old, or something like that. Like if you had an account that's like many years old, then yeah, they're probably going to be like they're probably going to use AI to figure out if you're like an adult, which is also, by the way, that's also kind of a breach of privacy if they're using AI to like look through your logs and see your behaviors and see what discords you're in, and then say, okay, you know what, this person's probably an adult. I mean, that's also like a little bit of an ethical thing, but people didn't seem to care too much about that if they didn't have to verify their age. But the fact of the matter is, there's a lot of sensitive things that people post on Discord, right? There's a lot of things about Discord that are useful, and I know that it would affect a lot of people who like to use Discord for the anonymity. Same with Reddit. There's a level of anonymity associated with Reddit and Discord and all these other social media. So I definitely understand why people would want to leave the platform if they required ID. That is something that isn't necessarily related to this conversation at all, but it is something that is related to kind of the overall arching theme, which I've described in my Discord and other platforms about how there's this thing called enshittification. Okay, so let me explain to you what enshittification means. You have a company like Discord or Pokemon or whatever company, right? Or Dina. Dina's a good example, or whatever. A company that starts out small, gets big. They do free stuff. They let you start an account for free. You can do whatever you want. You can cuss. You can share. You can voice chat, video chat, whatever. And everyone does it, and it's a lot of fun. And then the company gets really successful, and then it becomes like, okay, well, when are you going to go public? What does going public mean? So I talked about this in the Discord, and I'm not going to read through what I wrote because it's a very elegant thing that I wrote. I'm not going to describe it in words to you, and I'm going to try to like explain it in, I guess, regular terminology. But basically, when a company goes public, it's kind of a big deal. It means that people on the market can buy shares, like buy stocks. You're on the stock market, basically. And when you're on the stock market, people will give your company money to be like shareholders, to be investors of your company. So this benefits the CEOs, this benefits the people who are high executives, and they get a lot of money from this. But the downside is that they are beholden, quote unquote, to the shareholders, right? So what does that mean? That means the shareholders get to make decisions in the company. And some of these decisions involve things like, okay, well, we have to be following the rules of these international law of having Face ID and passports and stuff. And it's like, not everyone's going to be cool with that, So people are not going to be happy. People are going to leave. And that's exactly what happened. You got a huge droves of people unsubscribing from Nitro, leaving the platform. And I guarantee you that if something like that happened in Pokemon, where Pokemon went public, people would leave. Now, Pokemon is partially public. The way what I mean by that is Nintendo's a public company, so you can actually buy Nintendo stocks. You can't buy stocks from the Pokemon company. The Pokemon company is a private company, just like Steam is, right? And but there are some the public organizations that hold stock shares in Pokemon, like Nintendo. So the reason why Pokemon is doing so well, honestly, is part of the reason is because it's a private company. It's like they get to make whatever decisions they want for the most part. I mean, Nintendo does help out every now and then. I'm sure Game Freak and et cetera, et cetera. But for the most part, you can't really invest directly into Pokemon. You'd have to do it through Nintendo. And as soon as companies go public, they go through what's called enshittification. Reddit went through this in 2023, where they went public, and they decided, you know what, we're gonna not allow APIs or whatever. There was an issue with APIs, right? And so people who were using like knockoff Reddit apps, they had to pay like a crap ton of money, basically, to to basically like they can't really basically they couldn't profit off of their business, basically. And that PO'd a lot of people, that pissed off a lot of people who were interested in using some of these other applications, other features other than the official Reddit app. The official Reddit app, for all intents and purposes, sucked. It did. And it's gotten better. I'm actually using it right now, ironically. But yeah, people were there was a mass exodus of people on Reddit, and part of the reason was because Reddit was going public, and they weren't like the decisions that they were making were not coming from maybe the people that you like. They came from shareholders. They came from people who wanted to make money and charge people for using their API. They want like, and same thing with this, Discord. Who knows what they're going to do with your information, right? With the Face ID or government IDs, they're trying to collect data, or maybe try to get through to sell your data to AI models for training, or selling it to advertising companies to see like what the best things are to invest in. Like there's a lot of things you can do with people's data, right? People say, "Oh, I have no. What do I care about privacy? I have nothing to hide. I didn't commit any crimes." Well, maybe you didn't commit any crimes, right? But if you're selling your data to someone else, you're giving it to someone for free. First of all, right? You're giving it to Google. You're giving it to Apple. You're giving your data to everyone for basically for free. You're signing terms of policies, whatever privacy policy, and so you can't really, you kind of have to like give up your data. But unfortunately, we live in a society where your data is already out there, right? There's nothing you can do about it. But people are trying to fight the good fight. They're trying to say, you know what, my data. Why am I getting rid? Why are people leaking my information? Why are people sharing my information? I did not give consent to have you share my passport and ID or my driver's license to a bunch of hackers, right? And that's what ends up happening is people end up downloading apps or subscribe to social media or whatever platform. They trust in these platforms on their data. There was actually a data breach in Discord not too long ago, a couple months ago, I think November, October, where there was a leak where hackers were able to get government IDs and all this official document, and they gained all this information from the leaks, people's private information. And so that's a big problem, right? So who cares if you have nothing to hide? They're gonna take your passwords. They're gonna get into your accounts. They're hackers. They can get in and start stealing your identity, right? That's a problem. And I think that people who say, "Oh, I have nothing to hide," privacy I don't care about, it's still a problem. You have to fight the good fight. You have to say to yourself, you know what? And the funny thing is, the funny thing is, I've since now I've been relatively like apolitical. I'm not really a political person, right? But I do like to talk about certain issues in the gaming environment, in the stratosphere of gaming culture and the internet and social media, because it is important. It's something that directly pertains to everybody watching on YouTube, right? So we're getting off on a huge tangent here, but I just wanted to mention that because it is not only tangentially related, but very much related to what's going on in Pokemon CCG Pocket, where you've got this concept, right? Enshittification. The concept of enshittification is that basically what I just described, companies get worse and worse over time as they become more successful. Notice how Pokemon TCG Pocket made so much money in the very beginning, right? And then each month it just slowly climbed down. I wish I could show you the charts. I don't have it on me right now, but maybe in a future video I'll show you the charts. It just dropped. It just tanked. And people on my Discord were sharing links saying that, oh, the game wasn't making as much money. People weren't spending as much money on the game. Why? It's because of greed and basically I mean they tanked the game, right? I don't know what else to say. They made a lot of poor decisions. Not just this game. I'm talking about like in general, like every company. They make bad decisions. The only company that's been very good, mind you, is Steam. Why? Because they're a private company. They haven't gone public. And Gabe will probably never do that, right? Because everybody looks up to Gabe Newell. I think that's his name, Gabe Newell. This individual has so much money and will refuse to sell the company to the share. Will refuse to go public with the company, and good for him. It's honestly like that. That's something that people should look up to, because right now you pay like 80 $90 a game for Pokemon on like GameStop or whatever. You go to your local store or whatever, and you buy video games for $90. What is this? You know how much video games cost when I was a kid? Like what, maybe like $10? $20. Yeah, probably like a Game Boy game. You could even get like those Game Boy Advance games. They're used for maybe like $10 still. Yeah, it's crazy. Like Steam still sells games for just a few dollars. They make games affordable. They kept things affordable, and people are buying these games. Steam is making tons and tons of money, and their prices are not going up to $90, right? Some of the games are still like $20 or whatever. People are buying games that they care about that are affordable in their price point. The reasoning behind these companies like Nintendo and other companies increasing the prices of their games, whether it be PlayStation or Xbox, whatever. Like there's this movement right now to make games more and more expensive, and the reason why they're wanting to make it more expensive, right, is because their reasoning is this. Okay, let's just hear me out. Oh, so many people buy Pokemon games no matter what. Year after year, more and more people buy Pokemon. These people are going to buy Pokemon at $20. They're going to buy Pokemon at $30. They're going to buy Pokemon at $40. So if we make our games from $20 to $40, we're going to double our profits, right? We're going to double our revenue. Bad idea. That's the assumption that people are going to buy your game no matter what because it's Pokemon, because of the name, right? Because of the logo, right? That's the mistake. People think that they will buy your game, but in reality, people can only buy what they can afford, right? And so, even though Pokemon TCG Pocket is a great game, I still play it. I love it, and I'm still going to be, I probably spend more money on the game than most people have, and yet here I am criticizing a key feature of the game, or of Clash Royale too. Like all these other games, it's called enshittification. And look it up. It's a real word. It's a real word, and it is a big reason why I have had a lot of concerns about the games that I play. Every single game is a victim to this. By the way, it's not just Pokemon TCG Pocket. I'm not. This is the game. This video is not even about TCG Pocket. First of all, it's about the gaming industry and the problems that have happened because of the gaming industry and corporate greed, right? We have to fight corporate greed. We have to stand up to it. And it's something that we all have to talk to, like, do. We have to, yeah, I mean, you got to do something about it, right? So there's people, you can talk to your senators, your representatives, and be like, hey, this is not cool. I mean, you do some little activism like that. Some people say to do that. You can also vote with your wallet. Obviously, that's what I'm doing. I'm voting with my wallet by only supporting games that I care about. And also, my priorities have changed. Like I said before, I have a kid now, and things are a little bit different. I think I just have to spend money on my kid. The funny thing is, when I was in training, one of my superiors, he said, you made your first there's two mistakes in life you made mistake number one is getting married, and mistake number two is having a kid, and I did both mistakes. But I mean, obviously it's a joke, but it's actually really funny that my supervisor said that, because if you were in the business of making like tons and tons of money for yourself, do you have any idea how much having a kid is going to cost? It's going to cost you a ton of money, right? Because you have to pay for their food, their tuition, right? And all that other stuff. But it's worth it, right? I mean, is it worth it to you? It's worth it to me. You get to have a family. You get to have well, I live in America, so we call it the American dream, right? You own a house. You have a job. You have kids. You're married. Like, that's the American dream. So, you know, it is what it is. I've said a lot of things in this video, things that I particularly wanted to share. I was gonna try to play. I was gonna try to play a game, but there's no way I'm gonna do that. Actually, I can see here that my battery is about to die, so I do apologize. I'm gonna try to wrap this video up, but I thought I'd just share a little bit about what was going on in the current market, in the current environment, the current socio-political climate of the gaming industry. And I hope you enjoyed my video. If you haven't already subscribed to my channel, I am going to be doing a giveaway on the Discord, assuming that Discord is still around. If it's still around in March, we're going to be planning to do a giveaway in March 6th, a free Full Art Professor's Research. So join the Discord to join the giveaway next month. And if you haven't already subscribed to my channels, leave a like. And I will see you all in the next video. Peace out. Blah.